To begin the hydraulic failure in the R44 helicopter with your instructor, you're going to begin with doing a circuit like we are doing here at Brantford, and usually in the downwind, the hydraulic switch will be turned off, simulating a hydraulic failure and going through the procedure and landing safely. While we're setting up here for our downwind, I'll just go over some of my thoughts about landing successfully. The common mistake I see with most students is that they bleed off the airspeed close to the ground, coming back to a hover, and at this point landing is almost impossible. In the POH it says to keep airspeed just above translation to have a run-on landing with hydraulic failure, and I'll go into what you want to be able to see outside to hold the attitude to increase your chances at having a successful run-on landing. At this point, the instructor will turn off the hydraulic switch and the simulation for a hydraulic failure will begin. The top 4 things to remember at this point is number 1, slow down that airspeed to about 70 knots. Anytime you have an emergency, you do not want to be screaming through the air at 100 knots. Slow it down, just like in an auto rotation, and think about what you want to do next. Number 2, you want to make sure that a hydraulic switch was not accidentally turned off, and you want to confirm that you have a proper hydraulic failure. In this scenario, we're going to assume the hydraulic switch is still on. Number 3, we're going to check the panel, make sure no more lights are on, gauges are green, fuel is good, and we're going to listen for the engine, make sure nothing else is letting go, and confirm that we have one problem, we don't have a multitude of problems that are piling up. Step number 4 is to make a pan call. Right now with the hydraulic failure, our power steering is not working, but we do not have a broken helicopter to the point where we have to land immediately. We just have to land as soon as practical. So we'll make a call. As we're turning on to our base and looking at our final leg here to land at the threshold of 1-1 with a hydraulic failure, we want to begin thinking about the airspeed we need to carry to have a successful run-on landing with a hydraulic failure. During a hydraulic failure, you're really going to have to muscle the controls to control the helicopter the closer you get to the ground and the slower the airspeed becomes. So keep that in mind, you're going to have to fight for your spot and fight for your airspeed. Keep in mind that it's only the collective and the cyclic that are hydraulically boosted and not the pedals. So during this time, your pedals should feel the same, it's just your collective and your cyclic that will be stiff and you'll need to muscle through that. During this time, we're turning on to final. I'd like to really visualize a shallow approach angle here. And it's only about the last half a mile till I get to my spot. I begin to bring that airspeed back below 60 knots and close to that 16 to 24 knots of airspeed, which is just above translation. This last half mile is where you really have to focus and maintain that airspeed of 16 to 24 knots, not allowing that nose to come up and your airspeed to decay to 0. I always like to say to the students, keep the attitude of the nose constant once you found that airspeed of just above translation and bring it down with your collective gently for a run-on landing. Hold the attitude with the cyclic, bring it down gently with the collective.